freelance actor, musician, but most of all, an artist, was bound to find talent in the townships.
And then it wasn't until 1994 that I came to South Africa and met my partners Zuko and Lennox, and together we pooled our talents and released our 6 albums.
Yeah, thanks, bro, man. I tell you, we're gonna take South Africa by storm.
Yeah, man.
A vision and a dream of some determined individuals in the music industry. And the result? New opportunities for local musicians and aspirant musicians. They may have humble headquarters in Cape Town, not too much start-up capital, or for that matter, a corporate feel.
One thing I'm fed up of is the paperwork, guys, so I'd like you to take over all the paperwork, please, and I'm going to start singing from now on. And when
But Barney Rattle, Lennox T and Zuko Vanyazo, who founded the New World Music in 1995, are making serious inroads in the South African music industry by concentrating on local township talent, recording them and exposing them to the public. This is the practice room for several of the bands they have on their record label. This is their small recording studio, situated in Lower Main Road, Observatory, Cape Town, which has an emphasis on training people from the township.
You know, I make them big star, but I start from scratch with these musicians. It's so great, you know, to work with the musicians, different tunes from reggae, everything.
To date, New World Music has already released 85 songs on 6 albums from 30 local groups, featuring 200 local African musicians. And this is an excerpt from their first music video, still to be released. Not a bad effort for 3 relatively unknown founders of this company. Their ultimate goal is to offer ground and sales support for South African artists in the Western Cape and later nationally, who would never otherwise be given the chance to be recorded. And there's plenty of talent to choose from.
I don't really consider it as township talent. I consider it as a musical talent that is born to the African full stop. And it just so happens that a majority of Africans live in the townships. And I mean, the talent is in abundance and is natural.
Traditionally, big recording companies have not concentrated on local township talent, and this is where New World Music is finding a gap in the industry.
The big record companies, I think, could do a lot more to help develop talent in this country. I think they're locked into large overseas agreements where they are pumping the country full of import, foreign material. I think they dwell too long on easy productions, and I think that their attitudes have got to change and try to create a future for children.
The phones I get here each and every day in my house, people asking me they want to record, because now they realize that they can be recorded. Because before people thought, oh, we cannot be recorded our music because we do not have money. What good would it do? Give you what I'm giving. I think the township talent is very, very huge, and it needs a proper and very good exposure. It needs to be taken into consideration because there is so much talent which is being hidden. That is actually why we are now coming up with this so-called Incholo Skolo.
Incholo Skolo is the name given to a music educational program in the Western Cape to provide much-needed music education and the preservation of indigenous music forms. This program is headed up by Dr. Michael Blake.
Okay, my role is as education director. This means that I'll basically oversee what's happening in terms of education. Doesn't mean I'll be doing so much of the teaching. I'll try to do some of that to a certain extent, but it's mostly done by the teachers that are there living in the areas in which we're working.
The cost of musical instruments is high, and it's been through grants and sponsorships that New World Music has been able to commence teaching programs in the community. The goal is for these music schools to be self-sustaining. Proceeds from record sales will go towards the funding of instruments and teacher salaries. Youngsters now have a chance to discover themselves.
The bands will be involved in helping out the schools, holding workshops and teaching the kids and jam sessions, performances, including some more kids that are growing musically.
A committee has been established to oversee the music education program and has several patrons, themselves well known in the industry.
The school, of course, is just unbelievably important, that it's not only the people who are now involved in the project and in the recording, but a whole generation ahead who have at last a chance to be learning and performing themselves.
A group of enthusiastic, dedicated individuals who've collaborated together and whose interests extend just beyond money. Judging from the success they've already achieved in giving local bands the chance to record and have their work released publicly, and with the establishment of township music schools, they deserve all the luck they need.